To install Hyper-V on an existing virtual machine, I'm just going to go to my RTS Serve 1, and I'm going to connect to that machine. I'll just put it in full screen, and we'll connect. Now that I'm signed in, I'm going to attempt to install Hyper-V. It will not work, but we want to see this error message. So I'm going to add roles and features. I'm going to go next, role-based for this server, and I'm going to select Hyper-V. When I click Add Features, it's going to give me an error message that says Hyper-V cannot be installed. The processor does not have required virtualization capabilities. So what I need to do to be able to install Hyper-V is actually shut down the virtual machine. So I'm going to go to Shut Down, and it'll take just a moment, but that's going to completely power off. And when that's done, it'll just say Shut Down here. That actually went pretty quick. Now on the host machine, I'm going to pull up PowerShell. And in PowerShell, I'm going to run set-vm processor -vm name. Now my VM is RTS SVR1 -expose virtualization extensions $true. And that's it. If it drops to the next line, it actually worked. Now, I'm going to show you what would happen if we did not shut the virtual machine down. If I run the same command for RTS DC1, it gives me this error message that says it failed to modify the device processor, cannot change the processor functionality of a virtual machine now. That's because the virtual machine is actually running, as it says here. So the VM does have to be shut down. And I don't intend to install that on RTS DC1, just on Serve 1. So now I'm going to go back to my Hyper-V manager, and I'm going to start RTS Serve 1. I think I still have it here. So that'll start back up. Then we'll log in, and we'll be able to install Hyper-V on that server. I'm going to sign in with my RTS networking administrator account. Now in Server Manager, we're just going to go to Add Roles and Features again. So we'll just go up to the Hyper-V installation. Now I can select Hyper-V and add features, and we just will not get that error message. We're accepting the default on the features. Now this just gives us some basic information about Hyper-V, about running workloads on virtual machines, but that we already know. Now this will ask me what network adapter do I want my virtual machines to actually use. I could check this network adapter now, but we're going to create virtual switches and manage network adapters after we're done. So I'm going to deselect that right now. It also asks me if I want to allow this server to send and receive live migrations for virtual machines. We are actually going to configure that in Hyper-V itself. So we're going to not select that right now. That's in the Hyper-V settings once this is installed. The last option is to choose the default location for your hard disks. So your virtual hard drives actually go to your C drive, this users, public, documents, Hyper-V, and in a virtual hard disk folder. Your virtual machines go to this C program data. If you wanted those to be stored in a different location, you could choose that now. And this is also very easy to change after the fact in the Hyper-V settings. So really, the virtual switch migration and the default stores, easy to modify post-install. But we're going to leave everything as is, and we'll just go next. That is everything we're loading. I'm just going to click Install. Now the install does take a while, and then it's going to actually have the server reboot. Says we have a restart pending. So I'm going to close that. And we'll just restart. Now it's just updating the feature. Then it'll reboot and we will be a Hyper-V host. Now that that's rebooted, I'm going to sign back in with my domain administrator account. In Server Manager, I'm going to click Don't Show This Again. Now when I go to Tools, Hyper-V Manager is in the list. So with this nested virtualization, what we ultimately have is a Hyper-V host with a virtual machine on it, and the virtual machine now has Hyper-V installed. Not extremely common you would do that in the real world, unless you're in a test lab environment or something like that, but many cloud services will use this nested virtualization concept. We mainly want to know that Server 2019 has this capability of nested virtualization. But that's our Hyper-V host. So we can now create virtual machines and do all those things directly on this RTS Serve 1.